I'm making this video because I don't think that it's possible to have knowledge of self and still condone like the practice of abortion in the black community. Like that's I don't think it's possible. Like I feel like the people that are not only condoning but encouraging that shit, oh, it's her body and all that other goofy shit. I feel like y'all don't have knowledge of self, you know what I'm saying? And for the fellas that's clit riding and shit, I feel like y'all probably just doing that shit for brownie points. I sincerely doubt any man is gonna sit up here and co-sign not having shit to do with whether or not his child get delivered or not. Like that, I just don't believe it. Like that's ridiculous, or you ain't no man. One of the two, you know what I'm saying? But I'm making this video since there's clearly a deficit on knowledge of self for the black women in this group. Then I'm gonna try to do my best to mitigate that. First, in order to have knowledge of self, we have to start with where the general consensus of the community is. And for us to do that, we have to look into the religions that we focus on, such as these phallus-based, Abrahamic, westernized religions like Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, and other religions as well. But like I said, we want to focus on what's more prevalent in the black community. Now, it wasn't until about maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago, something like that, that we all came together and understood that there's no way in hell that Jesus could be white. That was relatively recent. You know what I'm saying? So up until about 15 years ago, when we went to church, it was a white Jesus in the pamphlets and on the fan and shit that we waving on the stain on the color windows and shit. You know what I'm saying? It was a white Jesus. So we're worshiping a white man. All right. So if you have knowledge of self, there's no way in hell that you could have worshipped a white man, but you didn't have knowledge of self. Because if you had knowledge of self, you would know that the black woman is God. That's the only thing that makes sense. And I'm about to break that down in several different ways. And I'm a firm believer that if something is true, no matter what path you take, imagine the truth, the peak of a mountain. A mountain has many faces, but regardless of which face you go up, if you find a path, they all gonna lead to that same peak, to that one simple truth. That they all lead to that. So I'm about to give you different paths that all lead to the same truth, the black woman being God. Now, if the black woman is indeed God, it would stand to reason that her counterpart, her direct counterpart, would be what? The devil, right? So what would be the opposite, the direct, exact opposite of a black woman? A white man. Now tell me, what are all these Abrahamic religions have in common? A white God up until recently. Because we use geographical clues to understand finally that don't make no damn sense. Because we were fed a bunch of bullshit. So if I'm a white man and I'm tired of being at the bottom of the pyramid, I would then do what? Flip the pyramid on his head. So that would essentially make what? The black woman the base of that pyramid. Now, black men, we're pretty much neck and neck. We right there with you. But if you following the way that they're thinking, these black men that think, oh, we're the leaders and we're the one that God chose and you're my rib, that goofy shit that makes no sense. That would essentially make you what? The person holding up the household so that I can lead. So that puts you back at the bottom. But there's nothing right with that way of thinking, which is why the world is in the state that it's in, because the black woman isn't in her proper place. And I firmly believe that shit. If she was in her proper place, we wouldn't be experiencing all the woes that we're experiencing today. And you can look in the ancient Egyptian culture. I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. And when you see Isis, Horus, the god that they worshipped above the other gods, he tends to be depicted as a baby sitting on his mother's lap. Because we thought of the seat of power, the throne, as the woman. She has to allow you to rule. Because if she doesn't even allow you to take breath and kills you in her womb, you can't do shit. You may be able to physically overpower her, but she would have to allow you to come into the world to begin with. Now let's explore some more simple truths. When you're on the search for the oldest bones, you don't go to Europe, You don't go to South America. You don't go to Asia. You go to Africa every single time. Or you go somewhere where the original people be. Like you go to Australia maybe. But you find the oldest bones in black places for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because we're the original people. We're the oldest people. But what they fail to also shove down your throat as well is the fact that they all tend to be female. The oldest bones are consistently female. How do that work? How do that work? So we took better care of burying our women than we did our men? No, we definitely didn't do that. So how come the farther we go back, the more likely it is that they not only will be black, but female? I submit to you that there was a point in time where there were precious to little men to begin with at all. If there were any at all. And I have several things to back that up. First and foremost is a process called parthenogenesis. You have no idea what the fuck that is, because if they taught you what that was and they made that common knowledge, it would debunk all these phallus-based religions. You know, that it was a man God and he made man in his image because he's a man and shit. Bullshit. Parthenogenesis is the process in which a woman, a human woman, can reproduce asexually. Look it up. Look it up. It's a very real process. In other words, immaculate conception. Now, to delve even further into how the black woman is God, let's take it a step back and let's go the scientific route, right? Every scientist worth its salt can tell you this basic law, that energy can neither be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed. So when we think of the soul, we think of energy, because the soul is eternal, even regardless of what religion you subscribe to, because they took real knowledge and they took a piece of it and surrounded it with some bullshit. Because even in these Abrahamic religions, they don't believe that a soul can be destroyed, not even by God, evidently. A soul goes where? To paradise or to be punished eternally. Because a soul cannot be destroyed nor created. Only transformed, only moved around and shit. You see what I'm saying? So that being said, the building blocks of life are what? The cells. That's the smallest organism that makes up the whole, right? The powerhouse of that organism is the mitochondria. That's where all the energy is housed. That's how the cell moves around. That's what eventually provides energy to the rest of the body. Because if you don't have energy in the cell, you don't have energy in the body. The mitochondria is only passed down matrilineally. What that means is that only the mother can pass down her mitochondrial DNA. Never the father, not one time. Not sometimes, not kinda, sorta, not almost, none of that shit. Every single time a child is born, when the scientist dissects one of the cells and gets the mitochondria out, it's gonna trace back matrilineally every single time. Every single time. How does that work if man was first? How? So you mean to tell me that the first men were first? Who the fuck did we get our mitochondria from then? Or that's the one time God didn't feel like playing by the rules. He played by the rules every other time, but that one time he just didn't. So following, like, we're gonna use common sense and we're gonna use facts, because you can look all this shit up. I haven't given you my opinion yet. You know what I'm saying? So the mitochondria is housing the energy, what we would perceive as the soul. Possibly, if the soul dwelleth anywhere, it will probably dwell where the energy is, right? Because it is energy. If we're all on the same page, and that's passed down matrilineally via the mother. I'm just repeating myself so that the information sticks and you can pass it along. So the energy is passed down matrilineally. The soul is passed down matrilineally, meaning you get your soul from your mother, and your mother is what? The cradle of life. She gives you passage into the physical realm. So for all intents and purposes, that would make her what? A god. Now let's dive into the physiological aspect of it, the fetal aspect of it. every single fetus, embryo, whatever, every baby, every person, every human being starts off as a female. This is common knowledge. If it's not common to you, it is now. Look that shit up. Every single one of us starts off as a female. So that debunks, again, the whole myth that man was first, that there's even the slightest chance of a possibility that the man would be God before the woman. That don't even make no damn sense. If we all start off as female, how the fuck that work? We all know that the Y chromosome is a mutation of the X chromosome. The X chromosome is feminine. The Y chromosome is masculine. The Y chromosome is what eventually determines whether or not it's a male or a female baby. Whether or not that Y chromosome is present. But the X is ever present. It's always going to be there. How does that work? If the man is the original. If the man is the original, then you can't have the mutation come after. You see what I'm saying? Like the Y chromosome wouldn't have came after the X. Because you would need the X first in order to get the Y chromosome. So that stands the reason right there that the woman was first. For you to have a mutation of something, you have to first have the original. The Y is a broken X. What they also fail to mention, because when they're showing you in the books, they don't scale. The Y is smaller than the X. It's a broken, crippled X. You know what I'm saying? It's a mutation. That means it's a different version of the original, and more often than not a weaker version than the original. A less stable version than the original. You know what I'm saying? So when we look at it in terms of a girl and a boy, a girl does what? She develops faster in damn near every facet. She develops faster emotionally, physically, mentally. The female child tends to walk first. The female child tends to talk first. They tend to hit puberty first. They reach sexual maturation first. They reach adulthood first, right? If we're following maturity and bodily development and things of that nature, they do all of that shit first. So we stand the reason that they're the original. Again, you can look all this shit up. I have not given you an opinion yet. I haven't given one. This is gonna hurt a lot of dudes' feelings, especially the Christian ones, and you know, and there is a such thing as misogyny and toxic masculinity, and it's gonna be prevalent not prevalent, but it's gonna be present regardless, so long as there's a penis somewhere. You know what I'm saying? That's just unavoidable, but it can be checked and measured out. You know what I'm saying? But this is gonna hurt them, because this is gonna debunk a lot of that shit, and it's gonna hurt your fucking ego, because you don't have no facts to back up your claim versus what I'm telling you. Black man, let me tell you something. You're not the original. You wasn't first. And to be truthful with you, you probably shouldn't be leading shit either, if we being honest. Because if we just look at it from the gender roles that we tend to take on. You know what I'm saying? If the man is supposed to go out there and go get it to provide for the household, it stands to reason that the woman is doing what? Maintaining the household, delegating the work to the man. Hey, we need this, that, and the third in this household. The babies don't have no food, so you go out there and go get some food, right? You know what I'm saying? While she maintains the household and raises the youth, the next generation, the future generation. So that would mean what? That she's essentially in charge of the household then. But you just don't want to look at it that way, since you're the one actually providing and making a way for the household. You're little more than a bodyguard, a protector, you know what I'm saying, that she loves. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? But this is real life, like the black woman's world, and she's not really in position right now, so there's a lot of confusion. And I'm not with none of that goofy ass clit riding and shit. Like, I'll get on a black woman ass faster than anybody else if she wrong, simply because, you know what I'm saying, I'm not gonna go around giving you the information and knowing for a fact that you God, but you're not acting in a godly manner. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna deserve the title though. You're gonna deserve it though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna give you hell, but you gonna deserve that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we gonna have it. We gonna get it right. You know what I'm saying? Because the culture needs that. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna call you God, but you gonna deserve the title. You know what I'm saying? Like the logic is sound, is reasonable, it sound right. You know what I'm saying? Like so. And like I said, I haven't given an opinion yet. All of these things are facts. You can look everything I set up in this video, and you'll be like, damn, everything he said is factual. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if we can climb many faces of the mountain and get to the same peak, that stands to reason that what that's the truth, right? But back to the abortion thing, I really was trying to put out a condensed video, and it turned into a whole monologue, a whole lesson, you know what I'm saying, a whole lecture, and that wasn't my intent. So as far as the abortion tip, I would urge any and everyone to go watch Maafa 21, Maafa 21. I think it's still on YouTube. Might not be, but check that out. It has a lot of information that's prevalent to you as a black person in this whole abortion topic. You know what I'm saying? And again, we're giving out facts. Nobody's giving out opinions and things of that nature. So, and I mean, and I understand that there's some of y'all who don't care. It don't matter what I say. You're pro-choice, pro-abortion, whatever the case may be. And I'm not talking to y'all, because if you don't care, then we have nothing to discuss. This is for the people who do care. You know what I'm saying? This is for the people who don't have the information. You know what I'm saying? They're making blind decisions or decisions in ignorance that they don't know is rooted in ignorance. Because there is an agenda to keep you out of power, black woman. To keep you nowhere close to anything powerful. Everything y'all touch turns to fucking magic. That black girl magic shit, even though y'all really using it as a way to constantly pat yourself on the back and shit, but that shit real though. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all have been working with the bare fucking minimum for ages. You've been working with less than the bare minimum for ages and making a way anyways. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just to get a little personal right now, you know, I had a personal stake in the whole abortion thing because my mother was considering having an abortion, and not just considering it, was probably going to do it. But my father begged her not to do it, and she didn't do it. And I'm glad as fuck to be here to give you this message now. And maybe that's why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Because maybe that was my purpose. And had I been aborted, I couldn't have told you who you were, so that you could then spread that message too in a sound, right, and reasonable way to the next person. That might change their life. That might save another life. That might go forth and accomplish something else. Like the prevention of breast cancer or something. You know what I'm saying? Or the next female president or something like that. So, I mean, I just had a personal stake, and I was just glad to, you know, have someone who gave voice to the voiceless at the time. And I was like, I can't go to my life without doing the same. Like maybe I'm saving someone's life as well. But he literally did absolutely nothing else beyond that point. That's all he ever did for me. He skeeted me out and convinced my mother to keep me. You know what I'm saying? And she did all the heavy lifting. She was a single mother. She did everything by herself. I'm sure she wished a whole lot of times that she would have went through with the abortion, because he was absolutely no help, none whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? And she worked with less than the bare minimum and raised a God.